What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is it, the last video of the year, and I thought, you know what, why not talk about starting a new year practice routine kind of ideas, things that we can work on. We're going to talk about 5 bad habits that just have easy fixes for guitar players. They're real simple to fix these things, and you'll actually see really good results if you do kind of go down this path and kind of remedy the situation a little bit. So there's not really tabs for anything in this one, but if you want to check out my free guitar course, you can. That is linked down below, the fretboard decoder. And let's just jump into this one. Let's talk and more rock. Okay, so number 1, what we're going to start with is, I totally understand finding time to practice is always a challenge. So maybe you're sitting there watching TV and you're playing, which is great. 100%, that is a great thing. But you gotta watch how you're sitting. So many people sit like this, laid back on the couch, and they're kind of like, you know, just playing. And I actually think that's a pretty bad habit. It is so much harder for me to sit there and play laid back like that. I have to sit like this. For one, that's a very unnatural way to sit and play guitar, because what happens is your thumb is up very high on the neck, which is fine for some stuff, but in general it hinders your reach, or it's gonna like put a lot of torque on your wrist. If you're sitting like this, you know, as you're watching TV and you're just kind of like really bringing your wrist around, stuff like that, that'll end up messing up your wrist and it'll hurt your hand. Now obviously the remedy to that situation is just sit up. You know, just try to sit up straight, so like you normally would when you're playing. I know I sit with my guitar on my right leg. Probably the best posture way is to sit in the classical position, but you know, just sit up like you normally would and play like that. I know maybe it's not as comfortable, but I just think it's a bad habit that can really be avoided, that can either hurt your wrist, you're gonna end up practicing stuff and learning something in basically an unnatural way, because then when you go to play guitar, you won't be sitting like this anymore, or you won't be sitting like this, you'll be sitting up straight and you're like, oh wait, why can't I play this anymore? It's like, well, you learned it, you know, with your hand in a whole different position. So posture is kind of important with that stuff. Alright, so the next one is certainly something that I myself am very guilty of, but I always try to like keep it in the back of mind that I need to really pay attention to what I'm doing, and that's the mindless noodling. So if you only have 30 minutes to play guitar, you know, if you just want to sit there and enjoy playing guitar, have at it, but I feel like you'll get a lot more out of it is if you at least take a little bit of that time where you're just kind of sitting there, you know, maybe just doing whatever. So like for me, one of the big things I'm trying to work on is tucking those fingers in, because I think it helps my playing a little bit, and I'm trying to keep that a conscious effort in my head. But I'm also I don't want to sit there and do that. Like, you know, have maybe a little section of that 30 minutes be a practice routine. Like I have a 5-minute guitar workout. I have 2 different ones you can actually check out that I'll link down below for you, and just see if that maybe helps. Like, have a couple minutes of that, you know, noodle session just be very dedicated practice. So I think it's really crucial, and you'll see great benefits out of it. So the next one is just honestly a mindset kind of thing. Now, a lot of people get stuck in wondering, like, what do we learn next? What do we do? And I think that a big portion of that is you need to set goals for yourself. You need to have big goals that are going to take you a long time to really work for, but you also need to have those little goals that are going to keep you motivated to get to those big goals. So maybe a small goal is you want to learn the slash lick, and the big goal is you want to learn Sweet Child of Mine, the full solo, or something like that. You know, like that's a great goal to have. But sit there and have these little goals. That way you get this sense of achievement, because sometimes we set our goal too high. Like, you want to learn Eruption. Eruption's going to take a long time, and after you've spent months trying to learn it, you're just kind of like, you get burnt out, because you're not seeing that initial reward. So have things that are kind of just there more for instant gratification, and then have those big goals that you're like, all right, I got to dig in and really work on this stuff. So, you know, I think it can really be a bad habit not to have that put into practice. Now, this is one I always love to do for myself, and sometimes I get stuck in the rut of just cycling through the same music, the same stuff that I listen to all the time, but it's finding new things to challenge yourself with. So this is whenever, you know, YouTube really comes in handy. Find these new players. Find a new challenge. Maybe the challenge is trying to play standing up more. I was working on a Sean Tubbs lick that he did in a video, and it's very, very foreign to me, the way that he's playing this stuff, but it was such a nice challenge, and it took a lot of work, you know, slowing it down and all that kind of stuff to figure it out, because there's not tabs for this stuff. You have to figure it out. But I'm already seeing like the benefits of like what he was doing there, and I was like, I heard it, and I was like, oh, that's so different. You know, it's very different than what I do. So I think finding those new challenges for yourself, maybe stepping out of your comfort zone. It doesn't mean like learn something that you just don't ever want to listen to or play. Just maybe a new challenge, you know. Maybe it's a Stevie Ray Vaughan lick. Maybe like you love blues, but you've never really learned, you know, any blues. So maybe, you know, bust out some Stevie Ray Vaughan. Now this last one is a little bit more geared towards like a beginner guitar player, but it's a very simple one, and it's so crucial, is don't play your guitar out of tune. Like I said, this is more of, like I said, geared towards beginners. You might not understand why that's so important now, but the last thing you want to do is train your ears to hear to get familiar with an untuned guitar. Like if I play a G chord like this, it doesn't sound like this. So you can see how it could be demotivating, basically, because you're like, it doesn't even sound like the right chord. It's like, well, it's because your guitar's not in tune. So each time before I play guitar, I tune up real quick. It only takes a second. And once you get into that habit, it's real simple to just do it all the time. And that is it. Thank you all so much for an amazing year. 2018 was such a blast. I cannot wait to see what we do in 2019. Other than that, you know, there's plenty of other videos to check out if you want to, but I'm going to bounce on out of here. If you had any of these bad habits, like myself, I'm going to try to work on those this coming year. So I'll see you all later. Guitar high fives out of here. See you later, 2018. Bring it on, 2019. Bye, guys.